It's not a mystery how to become anti-racist, anti-oppressive, or anti-biased. It's not a mystery. But because you're so busy being in motion, talking, putting a list together, going out there to the protests, donating money, just flinging money back and forth at people and causes, that's preventing you from seeing the answer. That because you're so busy moving around and moving and getting in motion and showing that you're one of the good ones, you're missing out on being able to ask yourself the right questions so you can get the right answer. And this all comes down to how we were conditioned in a culture that teaches us that it's an either-or approach. And so one of the characteristics of a culture of white supremacy is the either-or thinking, binary. So it's either you are male or female. Either you are good or you're bad. Either you are liberal or you're conservative. And that's how we're taught to think and behave and believe. And so because we haven't worked at deconstructing that part of ourselves which thinks in a binary way, when it comes to activism, that's what we do and that's how we approach it. So the way we look at it is that, well, I'm aware of my privilege and now I need to attend a march. Or because if I don't attend the march, then people are going to think I'm not doing anything. And then my inaction is complicity in the system. Or you post the thing on your page, a picture saying Black Lives Matter and I believe in Black lives. And because if I don't post that, then the opposite is true. My silence is me being complacent and tied to, me doing nothing means that I agree with racism, that I agree with sexism, that I agree with homophobia, transphobia, and so on. When in fact, that approach is what creates even more harm. And it's the reason why you see a lot of apologies being posted by politicians, celebrities, influencers, because they immediately jump into action thinking that the outward appearance of standing on the side of justice is all that's needed. But instead, the donations is steep in saviorism, that I'm going to give this money because it means I save the marginalized. The posting of, I stand with Black lives, it's steep in exceptionalism, that everyone else with skin color privilege, they're the ones that are evil, but I'm good. I'm good because I posted something on my socials. And then the next day you post something showing that you stole words from a Black woman, but you stand with Black people. So a lot of this harm, or you post, you kind of lacklusterly post that I stand with this marginalized group, when deep down you don't really believe it, but you succumb to peer pressure, and you want to make sure that you still look like it's just all, and then you end up just causing more harm. Because instead of going deep within yourself and confronting the parts of you that pressures you to be obedient and to submit to the dominant culture, instead of doing that, you believe that all the outward appearances of your wokeness is enough. And instead you cause more harm. Another one that just came to mind, which is my area of expertise, is around white fragility. And so people are in the fight, they're reading the books, they're watching the films, they're putting the list together, they're going to the marches, they're donating money. Then they come back 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later and say, I'm exhausted, I'm so tired. And then they come across the term white fragility, read it, and then now that becomes an excuse to disengage. Well, it's the fragility. Not realizing that weaponizing your sensitivities is a form of fragility. And so I'm calling upon you that the outward expressions of wokeness, the outward expressions of your activism isn't wrong. But unless you take a multi approach to activism, you're going to continue to create and do harm, thus frustrating yourself, because in your mind you're like, I'm doing everything that everyone's telling me to do and I'm still getting it wrong. Well, if that's the case, take a step back and look inside to be able to find the answers. And one of the ways that you can do this is to meet with your inner oppressor. I have a group on Patreon, and what we do inside that group is we use writing prompts and stream of consciousness writing to interrogate the inner oppressor, that part of ourselves which bullies us and pressures us to submit to the dominant culture, to obey and be obedient to a culture of white supremacy. And so when we can step back and say that, yes, I'm going to donate, I'm going to go to the protests, I'm going to, again, donate to the causes, I'm going to put the list together, that you can do that, or you may not do that at all. But at the same time, please, 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 practice and incorporate a practice around interrogating your unconscious biases. And my inner field trips is one way you can do so. You'll find that when you are able to meet with your inner oppressor, record its thoughts, you now get to see that, hey, it's not that I'm good or evil. It's that I am a flawed human being. I am flawed. I am a flawed human being. And when you can come to that awareness, the awareness that you're flawed, the awareness that good and evil can exist within you, when you can come to the awareness that you really don't know, you really don't know. And what you're going to do is operate with a curious and open heart. In fact, when you can approach your inner oppressor, not from a place of fear or guilt or shame, but from a place of curiosity and wonderment, you'll find that the answers that your inner oppressor gives you only helps to create a more holistic you, a more whole you, a more balanced you. So that in this fight, a fight to make this world more equitable and welcoming and inviting for all, that once you can embrace your own humanity, flaws and all, you'll find it makes it easier for you to embrace the humanity of others. And then it's no longer a mystery. It's no longer a mystery how to be anti-bias, anti-racist, or anti-oppressive. At the end of the day, embracing your own humanity and going through a daily practice of doing so is the way that you see others, or see the humanity in others. And when you do, then the harm goes away. Your sensitivities, and you embrace your sensitivities. You deal with people from more of a compassionate and empathetic place because you understand them. You were able to face your deep, dark shadow where your inner oppressor lives, thus making it easier for you to see the deep, dark shadow in others, especially if that person is just merely trying to survive in a world that oppresses them due to nothing more than a social or biological identity. So you're welcome to join my community on Patreon. We do what I call inner field trips, and that's a way for you to embark inward, find where your inner oppressor is, use guided questions that I've written to interrogate, use stream of consciousness writing to write down, because your inner oppressor is going to be all over the place. All over the place. Your inner oppressor is going to be blah, 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 here and there, here and there, here and there. And as a recorder of your inner oppressor, you simply record the thoughts with no judgment. And you come out on the other side with a better understanding of why these particular biases exist with you in the first place. So I encourage you to find your courage. I encourage you to stumble bravely. And I encourage you to work through in dismantling the binary thoughts and thinking that you have, so that you can find your humanity and reclaim your sensitivities, because that's how you become anti-racist, anti-bias, and anti-oppressive.